All right, good morning, Concept Art 2. This is your instructor, Fatai. Once again, back with another week of videos, lectures. Last week we talked about environments, building environments, and you had your assignments, quizzes, things like that. This week we are going to be discussing props for the environment. All right. So I'm actually going to use a pretty interesting case study, which is my personal project. I haven't really told you guys anything about it, but it's one of my like ongoing kind of things that I do. I make a free YouTube channel for kids, and then I write books based on that YouTube channel. But the YouTube channel is a show that it's called Playful Planet Kid Show. I've got characters on the show that I animate and things like that, and I have a kind of a vast environment that I'm kind of building out in 3D that I'm going to be using for set design, backgrounds, different things like that. So I just wanted to kind of give you guys a brief rundown. This week we're going to be talking about props and how they fit into the ecosystem of 3D modeling and concept art, and what purposes they have, how to do them well, how to make a good prop sheet. And this might be a two-part course, just because, I mean, I feel like some people are a little, they're still getting their thumbnails out from the previous one. So this one might be kind of a two-parter just because of that. All right. So I definitely do appreciate you guys, posting all the time, keeping me updated as to what's going on. And it's really, really appreciated. All right. And some of the stuff that I've been seeing is really, really cool. So that's awesome as well. So without further ado, let me pull up my lesson plan right here, and we will talk through it. And as usual, there's a quiz on this. It's the quizzes are super easy. I mean, it's mostly like logic. Like you can deduce the answers from a few, just eliminations of what it's gonna not be, right? So I try to make them as simple, just to reinforce some of the topics that we talk about, right? So, you know, a lot of things when you're starting props, it's important to start to consider things like scale and how they fit into the environment. All right. So let me show you guys the environment that I'm building for, right? And the idea is that when you're making your prop, you're building it for a specific environment, right? If I'm building something for the game Mass Effects, right, it's going to be sci-fi, things like that. If I'm building something for a game like maybe Chivalry, right, it's medieval assets, right, spears, lances, trebuchets. If I'm building something for maybe a show like Coco Melon, like it's cutesy kid art, stuff like that. If I'm building something for Ender's Game or Fortnite or something like that, right? You understand that the art style needs to fit into that, right? When you see these mashups of from Fortnite, like of Star Wars, I think they've done like Star Wars, they've done superheroes, they've done all sorts. When they bring those entities, right, those individual IPs into Fortnite, right, they almost, it's like a Fortnite filter, right? They put it into the type of thing, the type of design, the type of style that Fortnite is already in, right? And that is the important thing to always keep in mind, is that it's about storytelling, right? It's about bringing the art form, the art style to whatever you're doing. So if I'm bringing Batman into Fortnite, I'm not going to use Zack Snyder's Batman to bring into Fortnite. I'm going to do a Fortnite-esque Batman, right? So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about these designs. You pick an environment that it's supposed to go in, and then you design for that environment. All right. So that's the most important thing. And then when it comes to props, you want to think about how clear you're indicating things, how close your scale relationships are, right? If I'm making a chest, I want to put a person next to it so I can tell the viewer, the artist, that this chest isn't the size of a building. This chest isn't the size of a mansion. It's actually maybe go to the knee of a man that's 6 foot, right? Reference helps me know that, and I usually drop reference into my scene to let people see what that looks like. So here is my environment. I told you guys I make a free YouTube channel for kids, and then I built all of the stuff that is around it. So the thing that I'm gonna probably the thing that I've been trying to create for the show, I want to create like a shape forest, right? I want to teach kids about different shapes, and I want to use kind of like a circus motif and a forest that Pippi and the Planeteers go through, right, to teach kids about different shapes and how to identify them, things like that. So I want to make some trees that are shaped like shapes. You know, so this is the scene right here. This is the scene, and you know, as you can see, like I've done quite a bit of work. And when I talk about reference, let's hide this. So let me hide this. This like the statue. So this is what I mean by scale reference, right? This is I will make this guy available as well, and I'm gonna make this scale man available to all of you. And what you usually do is you'll make it like black, render it out, and then you can use that to tell people, hey, this is what the scale of this guy is, right? So this is Pippi. He's the main character. He's kind of miscolored right now. This is not like his regular coloring, but he also helps me tell scale. So now I know that this door, a human being can walk through it, right? I know that the plant is the right size. I know the bricks are the right size. I know the trees are the appropriate size, right? So there's a bunch of work that I've done. I made this like a year ago, and I've just been expanding it as I go, right? And I've been finding new ways and new techniques to kind of build this. So scale is very, very, very important, right? And I put these guys kind of everywhere. So like there's a scale man inside, right? And I use my scale to determine how high ceilings are, how high doors are, right? You want to have scale. It's so important because it means that things that are correct are correct. It means things that are supposed to be a certain size are that size, right? And you're not having mismatch. All right. So this is a pretty big map. I'll pull out here in a second to show you. So like there's a garden. This is the main planetarium. This is where all the learning happens, right? Inside the planetarium, let me hide this. Let's see if I can see anything. So like there's this little cool gadget that I just kind of make up. It's like it kind of gives them answers. It's like if you ever seen Zordon in Power Rangers, that's the idea. Like this is like Zordon. You know, it's like an artificial intelligence kind of thing that they talk to, and it gives them answers and things like that. It'll project things in the planetarium. All right. And then this is like where they sit, and then there's usually like toys and stuff everywhere. So and then there's rooms. So like if you look down here, there will be like there's like stairs that go all the way up into the hand where you can observe things, and this opens up, right? So I really do think through a lot of this stuff. I think, you know, the reason I enjoy concept art in this class is because it's like world building, right? If you know what that means, it's world building is so fun. World building is the bread and butter for a lot of your favorite games, a lot of your favorite IPs, right? Think about the world of Mario, Skyrim, Fable. Think about GTA 5. Like, think about the world that they present to you and how immersive it is, and everything you see, touch, feel, hear. You know, it is all wrapped up into that world, and it's fantastic how a lot of these guys do that, and I'm doing that myself, right here, which is I'm creating my own kind of world. So let's pull out a little bit, and I've recently started expanding out on the map, right? The map used to just be this, but now I've started to add different aspects to this. So like now I introduced Doghead Canyon over here. So Doghead Canyon, you're gonna come over here, you're gonna learn a bunch of different things over here. So these are all just kind of like learning portals, and this was made using ZBrush, Max, some sculpting tools here and there, and this is part of it, right? This is going to be like a road, a circuit that you can drive, and then like a little train tracks. And this is why scale is important, right? And even I can fall victim to some of those mistakes, right? Because I'm not infallible. I'm not a perfect human being, right? So like when I was creating this, I was creating it part off of like feel, and like I was creating it out of like, man, what could this be? So I was just kind of creating. I didn't really have anything in mind. So I didn't bring in my scale people. But when I did, I realized, man, these are way too big, right? Like these train tracks are way too big. And they're more like minecart cars, like for mine carts, right? And this is, I just want to show you guys why scale is so important. So this is like a 6-foot man. This is a 6-foot man. So I'm going to shift and drag him just so you guys know that it's very important. It's very real that you use something like this. You know, start bringing this into your artwork and you start using this. All right. So now let's zoom in. I'm going to hit Z on my keyboard. I'm going to bring this guy back out. All right. So now if we look at this, man, this is crazy. This is crazy huge. It's way too big, right? So I might need to not only just make it half, but make it even less than that, right? Like this is entirely too big to be considered anything usable, right? The idea, right? Like it's almost like this is like still a concept, and now I need to go and refine it. All right, so to refine it, I would make it so that this was scaled almost like that. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. So this would be scaled. I would scale this all the way down to make sure that, right? Because usually on these tracks, you can fit maybe 2 people on a cart or something like that, you know, if it was a ride or something. So this is probably a little more appropriate. Right, and you guys can start to understand what I'm saying, right? Like you guys get that, oh, okay, the scale is off, so it's going to be wrong moving forward, right? And this is something very important when it comes to your design work. You guys have to keep a lot of that kind of stuff in mind. All right, so that's just an example of why scale is important, right? That's a physical representation of if you do the wrong scale, you will get the wrong outcome. Right, like it's gonna look right from afar. It looks right, but when you get up close, it's completely and utterly wrong. Right, and then same with the plants. Right, you want to make sure that, all right, is this a bush? Is this a tree? Is this a plant? Is it, what is it? Right, is it the right scale? Right, so no, you need to scale them down. So these are things that I want to kind of impart on you guys. I want you guys to start thinking about how your scale is affecting your models, how your scale is affecting your concept art. And that's the cool part about like getting these scale references in, is it helps you and it saves you work down the road. This is like a personal project, so like there's no money on the line. But if this was a studio, like I just wasted like a bunch of time doing that, like, and the art director would be pissed. Like, hey, dude, like, why didn't you check your scale? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you, like, so you want to keep that in mind. Like when you're practicing at home, when you're practicing in your own life, in your own personal time, practice the habits that'll get you the job. Practice the habits that'll keep you the job, right? You want to practice the way you're going to play, right? Practice with scale references. Practice with real references. Whenever you're drawing anything, no matter, don't assume that you know what it looks like, what it's scaled. Don't assume. Look up some references. You might be surprised, right? I always say this. You don't know if I told you to draw your hand right now without looking at it, could you do it? No, you couldn't. It's your hand. You see it. It's been with you for 15, 16, 20 plus years, right? But you probably could not draw your own hand right now without looking at it. Like draw a detailed version of your hand right now. Don't look. It's not going to look right. You need to, oh, that's what my hand does. You think you know something. You think you understand something, but we overestimate our own knowledge of a lot of things. We are infallible creatures. Our memories don't work like that. So to save yourself some time, save yourself some energy, save yourself some work, do a little research, right? It might take a little bit of time, right? You might think, oh man, and research, da, da, da. Do your little research, gather some references, and then use that to build whatever it is you're trying to build. It's very important that you guys do that. All right. So I've got, this canyon over here. I also have like this port that I've been working on. There's a bunch of different places I'm adding to it. This is like the shape circus, and you're gonna have to go through the shape forest to go to the shape to get to the shape circus. I've had a circus in past episodes, but I wanted to actually build one onto the map. So that's where this guy's coming from. So a lot of these are like unfinished like projects. Like the only one that's really finished is like the center, and then I've been trying to expand on it over. So like as you can see, like the map is pretty big, and it can get even bigger, right? Like as you go, because it's like for all you flat earthers, right? Like the earth is flat here. So this is the Sky Kingdom, right? They're gonna go here and they're gonna identify different things and learn about locks and keys, and you go up here, and as you can see, I also have a scale reference here, right? This is where the Sky Kingdom is where the giants live, right? And they haven't come back down for a while. They go on an adventure, they find them, and they have these adventures with them. So there's a lot that's going on, right? And I just wanted to show you guys that world building is very important, and scale is super important to world building. All right. So with that in mind, right, that's our premises. Is like what we're trying to build now is, right, I'm going to, whoops, sorry about that. So I'm going to the circus. All right, so the forest is gonna be like something like, so let me so here's what I really do. So if I hit, so this, I'll show you guys how I kind of plan some of these out, and then we'll do the prop sheet for it. So the idea is that there's gonna be a forest that leads to them discovering this shape circus. All right, so the forest is probably going to be around here somewhere. So what you would do is, if you had a map like this, is what the studio would probably do is, all right, we have this undeveloped area we're trying to create for the map. We need ideas and concepts to make this happen. All right, your task is they'll give you like an image like this, Alt, print screen, and then you go in here, Control V. Let me see. Maybe I need the snipping tool. I'll do snipping tool. And all right, so you can do one of two ways. You can just do it like this, or save it out. So I'm just gonna make a copy, and then I'll paste it in here. Control V, like so. And then I'm going to go to another angle, maybe something like, let's go here, like this. All right, the idea is we're going to be going up to it. The shapes are going to be leading us to this area. So let's do the snipping tool again. So new. Got it. Boom, like so. All right. Copy this. All right, Control V. All right. And the cool thing is, I already have trees in this that I've already modeled. All right. I've got trees that I've already modeled in here. right? These guys super simple. So I might use these guys as a base. So if I hit Alt and Q, I can isolate that guy like so. Right? With this guy being isolated, I can do the same thing with the snipping tool. Just go snip. Boom. Let's do a new one. Boom. And then make it a copy, and then I'll just paste it here. So now I've got essentially my reference. All right. Now I'm just dragging all my reference together, putting them in the corner like so. And then let me just find shapes. All right. Just in case you guys don't know what the shapes are, the basic shapes. All right. Okay, so we've got a list of the basic shapes here, right? So now my job is, all right, we want a shape forest. What does that look like? All right, so I'm gonna go here, start by selecting. I'm gonna select my my tree here. Selected mask. What this does is allows me to dial in the property. So I'm going to smooth it out quite a bit. All right, smooth. I don't want to do any feather because that's going to feather the edges. I don't want that. I'm going to increase the contrast. All right. I'm just going to hit OK. I'm going to Control C and Control V. What that does is it copies it and it pastes it. I've got now an individual tree that I can use. Right. So this is where we start, and what I might use is I'm gonna use this as like a color picker, and then now if I paint something, it'll be the color of the shapes. All right, so this assignment's this easy, right? If you're doing something like trees or something like the shape forest, so you just want, you're just gonna make all the shapes, right? Like I'm gonna make a square, a rectangle, right? So let's create a tree from this. Let's grab this. Remove this stroke. And then I can just add a mask here. B. Right? I'm on the black, so I just erased it. Now I've got my tree stem. Hit X on my keyboard a little bit. I'm gonna bring back some of this. A little bit of that. And that's a square tree, right? That's that simple. To take this a step further, what I can do is, watch this. So I can grab a piece, right? Because this is my leaves. So I'm just gonna Control C, Control V. So I'm going to go into my FX. Let's do edit. I'm going to do define pattern. Actually, cancel. I'm going to do Control N. Actually, Control C, Control N. Create, Control V. And then I'm going to okay, and then I'm gonna define the pattern, and I'm gonna do tree texture. Okay, so what that does is it creates a texture for me inside of Photoshop. Now I can go back here and I can select this, and then I can use that as my texture. All right. Let me even round this out. All right, and you can do the same. Right, another thing you can do is you can just tile this guy, like make a tile. All right, let's see. This is fine for now. Let's just keep this. My stroke, no stroke. Just gonna rectangular. Let's make some circle trees. All right, boom, boom. Triangle trees. All right, this is a star. Whoops. Sorry. All right, so with this one, with this shape inside of Photoshop, you have some options that you can do. You can do the number of sides, increase it, decrease it, right? Instead of a star ratio, instead of making it a star, you can either make it a star with the star ratio, right, which brings in all those, or you can make it kind of like a polygonal piece. All right, so how many sides? 8 sides. All right. All right. All right. So now we have our shape forest. All right. So for the call out, let me just drag this, guys. Drag all these guys under. Okay. So now we've kind of got, you know, a good base for these. And when I mean material callouts, so this is what I mean by material callouts. Let me grab this and this. Put these guys together. Control, actually, let's convert this to a smart object. This, right click, convert those two to a smart object. Shift, right click, convert this to a smart object. Right now, so now I'm just merging them. Like it's a simple merge, right? You can merge the layers. No, you don't want to do that. You want to convert it to a smart object. What that does is it retains the layer information in there, and you can go back. It's almost like a non-destructive way of editing your stuff together. So shift, right click here, convert that to a smart object. Now I can pull these apart. All right. Same here, convert to smart objects. This one is already a smart object. So everything's been converted to smart objects now. All right. So what I would do is I would go in here and I would say, all right, so how do I want this forest to go? And these, right, some of my concept stuff, right, like it doesn't have to be like some beautiful, you know, Monet or some Van Gogh, you know, like all of my stuff is super rudimentary to get the information across, right? Another thing I might need to do is, because this is like the entrance, right? Let me get black in here. This is my entrance. Like this is the entrance and exit. I need to design it, so I might need to turn this entire piece this way so that we are coming from this path, right? And I'll do that by, I'm going to grab a piece of that color, right? And I'm going to use this. What I can do is, let me grab this. So this is something like an art director would do. So let's go V. I'm going to select this layer. This is literally what art directors will do. Say, all right, this, cool, but I need this bad boy. I need this bad boy turned around. All right. So I'm going to do Control C, Control V, Control T, and just rotate it. Rotate it this way. All right, so these might be the kind of notes you'll get from your art director. Like, all right, cool and all that you did that, but I need you to, you know, rotate it so that we're almost north to south on this guy. And we're coming this way. All right. So you got this critique. Your art director says, all right, looks cool, but I need you. And then this is the path for the shaped forest. And we can maybe do something more interesting, like a winding path, right? We can build something that goes this way, something that goes that way. We can do something that goes this way, right? We've got options, right? We've got options of what we can do, right? If we want our path to come this way, maybe since that looks like, you know, some road material, so we can do something here, do something here, do something here, and you can design your forest around something like this, right? So this is literally like the direction that I'll get like on a daily basis from like directors and stuff like that, which is like, all right, move this, move that, add some stuff here, right? So like they'd say, all right, let me grab this for the trees. So this would be our forest, right? And they might even give you 3 options. They might want to see 3 options, depending on the time, the budget, right? They're gonna want to see different options, right? And it might, you know, maybe depending on the story, right? Maybe the story has the characters on a 3 paths, and you can choose what path you want to go to, or there's an obstacle in one, or you give them an option, right? There's so many variables to this, right? I'm just kind of giving you guys some of these scenarios, some of which I have encountered in the real world, right? Some of these, you know, even for my last job, we were building some stuff for One Piece, and I was working on Skypea. I was working on Skypea and like this entrance for this. Um, it's like a ride. It's like a boat ride that they have. They were making. It's in Dubai somewhere. I don't even know if this project's going on. It's supposed to be like a DBZ park. And my job was to take a lot of assets from Skypea, and I was going to design this tunnel. And I did. I did a pretty kick-ass job, if I do say so myself. So, I designed from scratch the trees, the foliage, the vines, the rocks, the temple. So like we got a bunch of assets from the show that was approved, right? We got images from the comics to help us, images from the show itself, right? Because sometimes what you'll find is that the comic book and the TV show, the style doesn't match, or the drawings or the piece translated from comic book to show doesn't translate well. Right now we're trying to translate that into a theme park or something. So we have to kind of find a happy balance that the creator is okay with, that the studio is okay with, right? So it's this dance, it's this to and fro, it's this marriage of like who wins the war, right? Because like, do we go from the comic, right, which is, I wonder if I might pull up the file here in a bit. I might have to see if it's still under NDA. I don't even think they're working with those people anymore. I might see if it's under NDA to see if I can pull it up for you guys. But I can show you what let me see if I can find the renders on my desktop. I probably don't, because they sent me a computer to work on, so I have it on my other computer. But I might have the file somewhere. No, I'll have to pull it up for you guys to see it. I'll have to pull up the files for you guys to see it another day. But the idea is that we get all of these assets, we get all of these concepts. You get a lot of this stuff, and your job is to make it make sense. Your job is to redesign it so that everybody's happy with the final product. And that's what my job was. So like my level went through like a bunch of designs, a bunch of iterations, right? They took out the trees, they put in the trees, they added clouds, they took out the clouds, right? They added the totems, they took out the totems, right? Let me see. This isn't under copyright. Skypea images. Skypea path. Here we go. Oh my god, I found the scene. I don't care. It's not under. This is on the internet, so I'm not breaking any NDA rules, laws, or anything like that. Don't come for me. Do not come for me. I'm too broke. I ain't got no money. But let me see if I can. So it's this path right here. But there's another one. There's another really good one. There's like an image of it. I'm gonna find it. I'm trying to see, because so let's see. No, it's not the little garden. So like what we would literally get is like strips from the comic book and then clips or like screenshots from the show. And we would have to. Yes, there we go. It's something like that. Oh yeah, Why does Zorro get so long, bro? His sense of direction is abysmal. Skypea. Skypea. Forest. All right, cool. All right, here we go. This is the exact image. This is the exact image I was given. So I would do research, and for me, research was watching One Piece. I mean, that's it's not a bad job, right? Like, my research was watching One Piece for this client. So yes, all right, this is literally what I built. I had to build these vines. I sculpted the totems. I built the trees. This little thing, like I still have this model. Like I brought it. I did all this, and then I had to make the cloud river and stuff like that. But instead of like this, because like you got to think about like the scale from translating this into a theme park. For a theme park, right? We can't do. There's no you can't replicate those giant trees right back here, right? So you have to like do something to bring them into it. All right. So yeah, so that was like this is the image that I was working off of. And then I would watch the scene over and over again to kind of get like, all right, what's happening? And then the wrecked ships and stuff like that. So a lot of this stuff I put into the scene and into the shot, redesigned myself to make sure that it was correct. All right, and it's just a back and forth, trying to and because we were working on such a giant park, like my part might be like I might do a bunch of changes and then we're waiting like a week or two for changes, which is it's kind of tough. I'm not gonna lie about that. That was kind of like you want to kind of get after it and you want to finish it and get it in and out as soon as possible. So I say that to say that this is normal. This is part of the process. This is part of the journey, right? And now what I can do is, since I already have this kind of path, right? I'm just gonna put it up here. So this is my path right here. I'm just gonna scale this up. Boom, shift, like that. Boom. All right, B is my brush. X is to switch out the brush type, and then I'm just gonna brush some of this away. I mean, you don't have to, right? I'm just building it from the environment. All right, so now I can maybe start alt drag, right? Like alt drag, alt drag, alt drag, alt drag. All right, so I'm just gonna Control T and scale it all the way down because it's a tree, right? And the thing about this is, what gives us good reference is the fact that we have these buildings here, so we know what size we need, right? Like I'm gonna pretend like these are in the foreground, or I'm gonna do a foreground, mid-ground, background kind of thing. So like now I want something leading us to it. So like a triangle, maybe a circle tree. So I'm just alt dragging these guys. All right, circle tree right here, scale it down. Triangle tree right here, scale it down. Control T, scale this down a little bit. And maybe what I can do is either add a stroke to help define it, or just add like a drop shadow or something. Reduce the distance, reduce the spread, reduce the size, take off the stroke. And that might be enough to kind of push some of these apart. All right. I can just right click. I'm going to copy this layer style, right? And if I find all my trees, I'm just going to shift. I'm just going to find all these. Boom. Right click. Paste the layer style, and it pastes that same layer style to everything. All right. So this is what I'm talking about, right? When you're building your world, when you're building your environment and trying to make stuff happen, right? Like you just keep going. Don't stop. It can be frustrating, you're You're doing all this stuff, but it's trust me, it's very worth it. All right. Let me make a foreground tree here, a foreground triangular tree. All right. So our shape trees are in. This guy needs to go all the way to the back. All right, and if you want to think about scale for a person, right, like this is what you would do. So I usually just make like a little guy. I'm gonna do black and white here. All right, so this is the scale of what a person would be. Just gonna do this. That might be too big. Let me go, where's my brush? Let's go hard round, okay. All right, this is just like a little scale person you can draw. Control T, boop. All right, this is a long windy road. This is what a person would be. This is the scale of a person. All right. B, Alt, right there, boom. I'm gonna add a new layer. What I want to do is right here is I'm just gonna expand this road a little bit. All right, just so I can. Right, you're imagining that. Hey, the closer that this gets to the camera, right, the more we'll be able to see. All right. So now my scale person for this, right, over this yonder, this far away. Boom. Still too big. All right. All right, think about it next to a tree, right? How big is this person standing next to a tree? All right. So this is scale. This is how you notice, okay, the scale is correct. I'm doing the right thing. Right? So we got people walking around, walking towards our shaped circus. We've got the trees. We've got, all right, let me show you what a call out would be like. So if I wanted something like this, so I would go, boom. I'd make like a material panel right here. All right, so like let's do boom, boom. So if these are my assets, right? I'm just boom, 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 boom. So if I do one, okay, so this might be an asset from this guy. This guy there. Let's just make some of these guys around. Okay. All right, so you can go about shift 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna line them up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Line these up. All right. So now we've got our trees kind of lined up. Here is what our trees would look like. The shape tree forest. All right. It's gonna make my name like a regular font. All right, and then maybe put it all right, so let's go here. Let's go. All right, I'll say, let's say, boom. Control C, Control V. All right, so this is our texture for that. And then, so this is a texture I generated using like ChatGPT. It's crazy how that can work. So I'm going to use this as like a bark. And I'll say, all right, this is kind of like what a bark would look like. This is what a kind of leaf would look like, or the tree would look like, right? And I would say, I'd write like tree bark. Let's change the font to this one. Let's do tree bark. Tree leaves. All right. So these are my call outs. And then I would use maybe like draw an arrow. Right? You just draw like either an arrow or a line of some sort. The fill is just going to be a solid color. My buddy over there is wants to go out. I think he hears the wind. All right, so let's see what the stroke is going to be. Black stroke. All right. Tree leaves. Tree bark. Right, and then you would try to get this approved. Right, this would be like, all right, now I need to go get this approved from the whoever is gonna be. It's the alt. So at the bottom, boom. Nope. So I'm trying to do is G. And then I'm just gonna crop this to the part of the canvas that I am using. Hit enter on my keyboard, and just like that, I've created my props. I've shown where it would go on the map, how it will be scattered, how it will be used, right? These things are important. You're laying out your environment, you're building your world, you're using all of the tools at your disposal to make all of these things happen. All right. So that's the idea, and this is what your assignment is for the week. You're responsible for one or two of these, right? You can only do, if you can only do one this week, that's perfectly fine. But think about the environment that it's going to go in. Think about what the things around it look like. Think about all of those things that help the environment kind of shine, right? Because with a lot of this stuff, let me go back here. So with a lot of this, it's important to remember, like, there's like hero props, which are like key objects that like get a player's attention or something, or like a treasure chest or something like that. And you've got weapons on pedestals, like things that are like, all right, that is something I need to go grab right now, like that thing right there. Give me one moment. All right, sorry about that. I think the dog needed to go outside. Took him out. He's good. All right, so yeah, like I was saying, remember that there's different types of props. There's key objects, there's supporting props. These are like everyday things, crates, lanterns. Those are like supporting assets that kind of help generally build the world. And then there's like set dressing props, which decorative items that like kind of help fill the space. They don't really do anything other than like fill the atmosphere, make the room, the level, the scene, they make it feel kind of more alive, right? There's a light flickering in the corner, there's a lantern, there's rugs, there's plants, posters on the wall, right? Things like that. Those are set dressing assets. And all of these pieces are important to bringing your scene to life, bringing your environments to life. All right? So, I want you guys to keep some of these key concepts in mind: is functionality, how it's going to work. All right, what does the object do? How is it used, right? My trees here, they're going to be used to help tell a story. The shape forest that leads to the shape circus, and that's the idea, right? Storytelling. What does it reveal about the world or the character itself? What is it doing? What is it doing for the world? Right? It teaches them about the different types of shape and how they belong in the world and how they're used in different objects. All right. So then my material identification. So is it wood? Is it metal? Is it fabric? How can you show the texture and use that through the design? Right? Think about those things. What texture you're using, what it feels like. Is it rough? Is it shiny? Is it smooth? Is it bumpy? Is it thorny? Is it spiky? Right? Those things are important. And then you want to think about silhouette and readability, right? If I turned all of these black, right? If I go into all of my shapes here, like, so let me just go to my shape. Let me grab this guy, and if I hit FX and I do color overlay, right? And I just make it completely black. You can tell that it's a triangle. It reads, right? No matter what. The reason I'm using this is because of the simplicity of the shapes, the simplicity of the idea, and how easy it is to execute when you have good shape language, good silhouette language, right? Even without any detail, you can tell what it is, right? You don't need the bark. You don't need the tree leaves. You don't need anything to tell that that's a triangle. You don't need anything to tell that's a circle, rectangle, octagon, or an oval, or a rhomboid, or kind of shape, right? And then last but not the least, cohesive design language. It needs to match the world's aesthetics, right? You notice that I went to another part of the map, grabbed a tree that already existed, and then used that as my base. The reason is because you want everything to feel like it's part of the same world, right? If it's a fantasy, if it's sci-fi, make sure all of the assets look sci-fi. You don't want realistic stuff in like a cartoony game, or you don't want stylized things in a sci-fi world unless it's stylized fantasy or it's stylized sci-fi, right? So you want to keep true to the design language of the entire thing that you're working on. And there's great artists that do things like this, where whether it's the guy Feng Zhu that I've showed you guys, I mean, these guys are phenomenal. Like, they run laps, circles around guys like me. And but those guys are so good at what they do that, it's important for you guys to learn from other artists and see what they do and see how they approach it as well. This is my approach. It's not the end all be all approach. I've seen a lot of your work. I guarantee you we all don't work in the same way, but we're all trying to get to the same result. Cohesive design language, design that looks like it fits, like it belongs together, right? We all have our own individual style, right? It's up to you to bring the life of it out and then stick to those design principles, stick to those design philosophies, those ideas, and you will have something that can communicate your idea effectively. All right? So there's different types of things that you guys can make. There's different types of things that you guys can do. What makes the prop feel like it's lived in or lived on, right? How can a small object tell big stories? Things like that. Think about things like that, right? Think about your favorite games. What props stand out to you? Like, when I think of one of my favorite games is Halo. The only thing that comes to my mind is the laser sword right now, like the sword, right? That sword is dope. It's iconic. The shape of it is iconic, right? Things like that. It's important to keep those type of things in mind. So, for your assignment, remember that you are responsible for one to three of these, right? Design something. Design the call out sheet. Design the materials, and then design the world around it, or give us the backstory of the world around it, and then design your assets to fit into that world. And that's what will be judged on, right? If you're building a fantasy temple, right, maybe you're building some ruins, maybe you're building some chests, some vines or something, right? Different types of vines that would go in there, different types of broken columns or temples, or things like that, right? If you're building a sci-fi colony, maybe they've got these cool chests, a first aid pack. How would their first aid work? How would a lamp look in this section, right? So you can pick between, if it's going to be let me see, if it's going to be a hero prop, a supporting prop, or set dressing props, right? You can pick any of those. Just do something, right? If it's a crate, lantern, a tool, right, an axe that they use, or you would just need to kind of give us what you're going for there. All right? So keep those things in mind. I mean, and don't forget to include your scale reference in there too. So, like, you want to, you see how I have my scale guys in there, right? You also want to include what the scale reference for that guy would be, right? And I will throw my scale guy in there for you guys. Oops, my mouse was going crazy because my pen was too close to the tablet. All right, so that is it for today's lecture. I do once again appreciate everybody that stops by, that watches, that comments on the class, that talks about anything that has to do with the subject. I appreciate you guys helping each other out. I appreciate all you do for each other. It's very important that you're giving each other feedback, right? These are the people you're going to meet in the industry. If you're worth any of your weight in salt, your peers will have good things to say about your work. They may not have good things to say about you personally. All right, they may not like you, but they got to be able to say, man, that Joker makes a mean piece. That Joker designed some, But I digress. All right, it's Ty. This is Concept Art 2. I appreciate you guys watching. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns for me, do leave them in the chat. I will see you guys probably later today. I'm going to try to get around to reviewing some of the pieces that I've seen, some of your thumbnails. I might do some drawovers for them. So, be on the lookout for that. And then I'll be in the chat a little after noon today. All right. So yeah, have a good rest of your day. I hope this was insightful for you and enlightening for you. You learned a little bit about some of the work I've done, and yeah, I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with. All right. Have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.